Hey, Kenny, this episode of Athletes in Motion is brought to you by OOFOS Recovery Shoes.
Yeah, the demand we put on our feet and ankles is tremendous, especially after a long day or an intense workout. This translates into fatigue, muscle tightness, pain, and soreness.
And this is where OOFOS shines. Made with proprietary OOFOAM technology, OOFOS absorbs 37% more impact than traditional foam footwear materials for the perfect blend of cushion and stability.
And OOFOS reduces energy exertion in the ankles by up to 47% compared to the competitor's footwear. So walking is easier, recovery is faster, and you actually feel better.
Yeah, athletes like pro triathlete Matt Russell and NFL Comeback Player of the Year Alex Smith rely on OOFOS for their daily recovery. Well, simply put, OOFOS are the go-to shoe for your recovery needs.
Welcome to the Athletes in Motion podcast, from race to recovery, with your hosts, Tom Riegel and Kenny Bailey.
Hey, Kenny, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Tom, how are you?
I'm fantastic as well. Thank you. We want to welcome Ben Potenziano to the show today, who's the assistant athletic trainer with the Marlins in Major League Baseball. So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on. We've talked with other trainers, some personal trainers, strength and conditioning stuff, but to touch into Major League Baseball for us is a stretch, because we're both not major baseball fans. We love sport of all kind. And this kind of opens a bunch of doors and questions for us. So first, let's get started. Tell us about you, Ben. Where'd you grow up? What'd you do? What was your sporting background? What got you into strength and conditioning, and what led you to Major League Baseball of all places?
And in a nutshell, I grew up after leaving New York. As you know, your wife is my cousin.
Yep, we're related.
So that's how I got on the show, really. It's a family thing. It's
always good to know people.
Not like he really wanted you, but it's a family thing I was told I had to.
I told you I had to do, right?
So then I grew up in Maine, and obviously Maine's not a very big, heavily populated state. You have your 3 seasons. I played all 3 sports because there wasn't a lot. Obviously, up in Maine, there's, you're living the rural area, so it was fun. I was able to play all 3 sports. I was average, but it kept us busy. Once I went to college, I did play soccer, and I got injured, and I was on the table getting worked on by the trainer, and I just started the conversation, and it just kind of struck me how cool this was to work. Didn't have to go to med school. You can learn about the body, how it works, and all this. And then it kind of gravitated to that. And then at that time, it was quite a while ago, they had a few programs just for athletic training. Now they are curriculum programs at universities across the country. And then you come out with a degree with that. Basically, mine was a hybrid, and I kind of created it where the NATA, National Athletic Trainers Association, said you had to have a certain amount of courses, these specific things. So that's what I did. And then when I finished my undergrad, I went on and became a graduate assistant at the University of Maine in Orono. And the head trainer was good friends with one of his former students, who was the head athletic trainer with the San Francisco Giants. Started his career with the Yankees, and then was an assistant, then became the head in San Francisco. Made a phone call one day, and said that we were looking for or someone who'd be interested in baseball and starting at a lower level, and we're looking and hiring. So I happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Perfect.
I interviewed over the phone. They hired me. I packed up just before spring training started. So I remember, I think I flew out on March 2nd, and we started like the 6th in Arizona. And I finished my degree like this,
in between,
just did it through paper, sent it all in. Yeah. And I started in rookie ball, which is the lowest level, where you go through spring training, and then you will break from Arizona like around June 12th, 13th, and you go to wherever and I was in Northwest League, so I was in Bellingham, Washington. And that's how the career started. And then it moved on from there. And then it kept moving up in the minor leagues. And then lo and behold, in 2004 is when I started in Major League Baseball.
Wow. And I don't think I'm aware of all the different layers of minor league ball, right? We know AAA and then majors, right? But there's layers underneath that. And
Double A, A ball, high A, low A. It runs through just like that.
That's pretty amazing.
It's step process, obviously, right? Because it's something, like, as you know, not all of them make it. And there's a small percentage that make it.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Yeah. And it's a difficult jump at every level. I mean, the lower you've got they're college kids, high school kids, and then that jump from AA to AAA and then AAA to the majors is when you really see the level or how good a player is. Can they adjust? Because major league players can adjust to you quickly. They can see, your weaknesses and your flaws. And then, but you to adjust to them, it's difficult. And you can see the kids that can and the ones that can't, well, they're going to bounce back and forth. And then eventually they figure it out or they just, slowly go away.
Yeah.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah. I can't
imagine. So Ben, help it. So for the lay people like me, right? We hear strength and conditioning coaches. We hear, batting coaches. We hear athletic trainers. Can you give me kind of a layman's definition of sort of how your job compares and contrasts with other people on the staff? What is your responsibility versus their responsibility?
When you look at now in the major league levels, you have a head athletic trainer, assistant athletic trainer. I'm considered the second assistant. Mm-hmm. Some teams, medical staffs are 7 people deep. Like the Dodgers travel like 7 or 8. We travel with 4, and we have a massage therapist who's also an athletic trainer. So my job really is, let's start back to I'll take you through it. Like if we're going to start the day at home, we'll come in, you change, get into uniforms, and you get the training room ready. Supplies is out. It's already set. The training room's already set. If you walked in our training room, it doesn't change. The powders, tapes, everything is out that anybody would need for our job is there. We just make sure we're set and ready to go. And then if we're going to travel, I'm responsible for making sure the trunks are full, stocked. We'll make sure we have everything ready to go that way. And basically, we're there to take care of the players. We're in or the rehab guys are different than the ones that are going to play every day, because that's just like a maintenance. Like you have your maintenance program. So in the training room, we're going to get them ready, whether it's laser treatments, some myofascial release, some scraping, some cupping. Those are the things that we'll do. We'll stretch, prepare. And then prior to the game, it depends on what they need again. Shoulder stretch, leg stretch, taping, and then we'll get out to the game. And we're there to take care of the care and prevention of the athlete. They get injured, we're there to take care of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they're coming off a rehab, for example, let's say they had an ACL tear or, an elbow surgery, they're coming off a rehab. At what point do you work? How closely do you work with the physician staff and with those folks on that transition? What does that handoff look like?
Now, the perfect example is like what I told you, the many injuries that we've had this year, they will go to our facility in Jupiter. We have a physical therapist there, which we would really like to have a physical therapist with us here. That's hopefully will come to fruition next year. So he is overseeing all the rehab there with a line of communication with the front office, with the head athletic trainer, so he can let the manager know, hey, this is where we're at. Plus they get the reports on what they're doing daily. But for the sole purpose that we can take care of those 26 players that are with us, that's why those players go to Jupiter. It frees us up to really take care of you more of a one-on-one basis. So when they transition from rehab to us, that's when the athletic training staff and the strength and conditioning staff will work together to make sure they stay on their maintenance program to keep them on the field from the injury. So that's very little from the rehab from the initial, but when they come up, then we're more hands-on with them.
Got it.
Okay.
And then like in the afternoons before a game and stuff like that, is it as the players need it? Like they just pop into the room going, hey, can you work on this or that? Or do you have a list and who has what going, hey, you need to come in for taping. We need to tape your knee or we need to whatever. It's just, or is it more of a, kind of open forum type where they come in and you take care of whatever they like. I got to hang now. I need to, take care of this. So.
And it works on both. It works on both areas there because we do have to like pull these guys in because they're not going to come in. Most of them won't come in because they just think they don't need it anymore. But little do you, that's 162 games. You do need these things. Now, some guys are there every day because they want to be touched. They want to get the stretch. They want this. They want that. So there's those different individuals. Like you probably know those individuals that needy. Yeah. And that's okay. We're there for that. Yeah. But then you find the balance. And sometimes they're like, hey, it might be a little too much today. That you can't get, soft tissue every day.
Every day.
So we got to balance it. We'll find that balance.
Yeah.
But that's where we come in and educate them. And then the ones that you really got to say, listen, we do need to stay on top of this because we don't want to go backwards with you. You don't want to go back on the IL. And that's where you try to get them. You don't scare them. You just, hey, let's just make sure we stay on top of this.
Yeah, I would assume, when you're in the minors and you're dealing with those folks, but when you hit the majors, I mean, these guys are, their salaries are kind of ridiculous.
True.
Is there an additional feel of pressure when you're dealing with, now you're dealing with people that are like, I've got to get this person out for a couple of reasons, right? The team needs them, the club needs them, his contract needs them to be able to do that. Does that come or does that just sort of fall off and that's not a thing? Or are you conscious and aware of those folks that are your good hitters? You're, like you said, you have I think you're number one base stealers, trying to recover.
Yes.
Those kind of things. Are you more nervous about that than you are, the guy at the end of the bench? Or I know you have I don't want to make it sound as if you don't care about those guys. I'm just trying to figure out if there's an additional pressure, like, hey, we got to make sure this person's good.
That's a great question. Because I think early on in my career, it's called an IL now. And before it was the DL. So we were always worried about numbers, right? Because numbers equate to dollar signs. So if you have your $13 million player sitting on the bench for 3 weeks, think of I could show you numbers, dollar signs, where we are right now in Major League Baseball. And it's somewhere in the upwards of money lost. It's like $680 million lost so far. So that's a lot of money when you look at it, right? A lot of money.
680 million of anything is big. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, wow. And then when you look at the base salary being $720,000, and then you think of the guys that are making millions and millions and millions. So early on in my career, it was always like, we got to keep DL days down. We have to. So we were driven on that. Now it's not even a factor because it's manipulated quite a bit. You'll see. And if you ever get bored and want to look at transactions on MLB.com, go under transactions and you'll see the transactions. It's not a concern anymore because they're just using it as a revolving door because they'll bring players up and fill in and do those things. But in the back of our mind, we want our best players out there because it gives you the best opportunity to win.
Exactly.
And that's why we're not winning because we're not doing a couple of things, several things not very well. You pitch very well, you don't hit very well. And that's usually how we've been running. But if you get your best players out there, it gives you the best opportunity. So now, in the back of my mind, I look at it going, God, I wish we could get this kid out here. And you've got to be patient because the body's the body. How much more can you do things to get it to heal quickly? Legally, ethically. That's why we look at it going, okay, do what we can. What can we do in our power to make it work? There's tangibles and intangibles, right? Control the controllables. That's how I've always looked at it. And I think as I've matured in this profession, you can only do what you can do in the course of a day. And then really when the day ends, try to shut it off and walk away because otherwise it'll consume you and you can't control it. I'm not the owner. I'm not the GM. If it was that easy, okay. But it's a great question. It's like, do the best you can with you and try to get them out there and be conscientious of it. You've got to. You're not doing your job.
I'm assuming a couple of different things. When you approach a rookie that just gets on to the team versus a 35-year-old that's trying to keep that magic going, how do you approach? Is there a different approach that you take with those? Is it more of a lesson learned for the rookie, and for the older one it's more of, let's make sure we get those people, their maintenance is going to be higher? How do you approach those different kind of people.
That's great too. I mean, that's great because when the kids come up, and the best part about them is you don't see them very much because they've been taught to like, don't go in the training room unless you need something. And we kind of say, hey, if you're leaking oil, you should come in. So we've got to battle with the veterans that are telling them not to go in there, but we want them to come in here if you need something. And if you're feeling something, let us know because we catch it early. We keep you out there.
Yeah.
The big thing is we get the chance to educate and groom these kids to keep them here, hopefully, or if they do get sent back down because they're only here for a certain part of time, they're going to know coming up. But the veteran, they've been through the ups and the downs and and, you know, going back up and down, and then having an injury. And I love veterans too, because you can treat them differently where it's more of like, you build relationships with everybody, but the relationships are different. But the veterans are good because you can also get them to help you with the younger kids. Say like, listen, he's not coming in. We need him to come in. And they police themselves, right? That's their clubhouse. They police themselves. It's not our job. We're not your father. We're not your mother, but we're there to support you. Yeah. And that's what you got to reinforce to them because they don't want to be told what to do. They just want help. But then when you build that relationship, that's when you go like, when like a kid gets his ass kicked the night before, you know, you get beaten up and then you're just like, hey, how you feeling? You're like, hey, you did a great job. You know, you coach them. Yeah. Or like they say, coach them up, right? Yeah. They know they got their ass handed to them. They know that. Yeah. Twitter told them, their dad told them,
all socials told them.
You know, everybody told them. So now they're like, how do I stop this? You know, how do I stop the bleeding? And that's where you just find what works best. I like humor. And then when you get to know the person, throw sarcasm in there because a clubhouse, it's the good old boys, right? But, you know, that's what you try to do. And then that's where I think the difference is the younger kids don't know how to act when they get there. But the older guys do. They help them channel in going, this is what you got to do. This is how you respect this. And it's like growing your own child, so to speak. Trying to teach them the rights and the wrongs, right?
Yeah. Kind of guide them through it.
Yeah. What's interesting is, so when we see kids come into our place, right, we do recovery services. When we see kids come in now, what we're trying to do, one of the pillars we're trying to do is teach those kids that recovery is just as important as the workout, right? That if you don't take care of your body afterwards, you're going to sit on the bench and that's not going to help with any scholarships. It's not going to help with your teams, that kind of thing. And they're starting to get it. Are you seeing, you know, through your many years, I'm not saying you're old, Ben, but you've seen a couple of days. Have you seen sort of a bigger shift? Is that translating now versus 3-5 years ago? Are you seeing more prepared athletes coming in?
Yes, because I remember when I started out, we didn't have strength coaches at every level. Now that has changed. You got to remember, you know, 2004 hit, right? The Mitchell report, you know, all those things, the Balco. Then that helped us. And no offense to any personal trainers, but you got to remember, personal trainers was not sometimes. That's how this all happened. And you know, players could have made the right choices too, but they all wanted longevity. They all wanted the careers and the contracts. So yes, and then allowing to have strength coaches at every level, at the major league level, and no personal trainers, that helped us. So it allowed us to, you know, provide them with the services they needed. NSF approved products, allowing us to get more into the science-based and what we can do. So has it changed? Dramatically. We have a cryo chamber in Miami, and we use it sparingly because guys, we have the cold tanks, we have the SwimX. You know, we put a sleep room in this year. That was something I told Stan, my boss, was like, listen, we got to get. I believe in it. I mean, I've done some research with Chris Winters, who's well known in the field of sleep, Dr. Chris Winters, and look him up sometime, you guys. Another great individual to talk to, and we went out and bought 3 recliners, the blue lights, everything. So these guys can go in there and use sleep to help them. And I think there's
that sounds so good.
And
like right here.
Yes. I love recliners. We went out and bought 3 of the best recliners, the gravity ones, but like we're spending the money to do it. We got them to do it. So the biggest
That's cool.
problem with that is on the road, is finding
Mhm.
somewhere for these guys to take a nap. So, we try to educate these guys on the sleep part of it, right? Because it's
Mhm.
important too. And then getting your sleep, getting the amount of sleep that you need, the nutrition aspect. We travel with a nutritionist. She
Mhm.
sets up our meals. She communicates with each player. We have our supplements. If guys are injured, we're making sure that they get the supplements that they need. We had a concussion earlier. We want to make sure that he gets the supplements that he needs to help with the
Mhm.
cognitive training and skills to get back for that.
Mhm.
So I'm with you guys on all of that. And you're seeing the change because players are gravitating to that more. They're listening to it more.
Mhm.
The agents are getting them more involved with that. So I think as the game's evolved, the education's also become better. Science is getting better. And you're seeing it because
Mhm.
there's more of a need or a want. And
Yeah.
that's where I think it's going because, steroids had a place in this game in all the sports,
Yeah.
and even cycling. Let's
yeah.
be honest. And
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No,
Never.
just a little.
No,
One
no.
guy.
Just caffeine, and a couple
Caffeine and
bars,
supplements.
let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
coffee and
That's it.
cigarettes. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's the cigarettes.
Yeah, what's a little blood transfusion between friends? I mean,
yeah,
come on.
whatever.
Exactly. You guys
Yeah.
know better than me there, right?
Yeah.
God.
But I mean, it's would you consider it sort of like I'll call it the Tom Brady effect, right? If, even just coming from football over to every other sport is watching someone who took care of his body, having the longevity and,
Yeah.
virtually, injury free, but being able to perform at a higher level. I would
Unbelievable.
imagine that you're starting to see even the younger players looking at that going, maybe if I start now, how long can I stay in the sport, that I love? You'd mentioned, how many games do you guys play now? I always joke and say it's like 1,000, but it's like 160 some odd games.
162 in the season.
162 in the
Throw
season.
30, roughly 25 to 30 during spring training.
So how do you deal with sleep when you're traveling to play 162 games? You're traveling for what, half that time?
Yeah, exactly. And then you travel for half of those games, and then you could be on the road for 11 days. There's with an off day in between there. Like this one we had an off day in Chicago, played 3 there.
Mhm.
Then we flew over here, had an off day. We'll have 3, and then go back and we'll have, I think, before our next off day is 12 days in a row. We'll play in a row.
Oh, wow.
So the sleep part is really tricky because, one time zone change is easier, but then when we're going to have to go back to the West Coast one more time.
Mhm.
We will travel after that game at home, and we'll go to LA, and we'll have an off day in LA. So yes, it gives us a jump start with a time zone change, but to get these guys to adjust, it's like, listen, guys, try to stay on the same routine, sleep later, so you get up, open the shades, get the sunlight in, get your body adjusted to that. Because when we play a 7 o'clock game, your body's, it's 10 o'clock. So think of the disadvantage. So that's where we try to get these guys to understand that, yes, if we can get the naps in, but we can't at another ballpark. It's very difficult unless we can find a spot where they can just lay down and rest and do that. It's very difficult. So we're at a disadvantage until we can get that time zone change occur. Well, the good thing is that we're going to play Oakland and LA, so we'll be over there. So you figure it's about an hour for every time zone change. It takes a day. So we'll have 3 days adjust. So then they'll adjust, and then we'll have an even playing field, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that's the tough part, guys. It's like on the road to get that time, try to get these guys to understand that get your sleep, get the 8 hours that you can, and all the nutrition that we can offer you. These guys, their meals are all prepared except for their breakfast. If it's not a day game, they'll find their own meal. Most of these guys will sleep. So these guys will sleep till 11 or 12 o'clock.
Sure.
First bus is at 1:30. They're on it. Then they come, they eat, and then their day starts. So unique animals we have out of the 26. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
So we have to find that balance. It's so interesting and also difficult at the same time. But you have to kind of work with science and what it's taught us so far.
Yeah. So when you're on the road, you're obviously staying at decent hotels, not the the little one stars on the side of the road. So you've got what I would imagine would be decent accommodations. We'll just
Correct.
say for most people. So they sleep in. They need to get to the ballpark by a certain time because the day really starts at the ballpark. So you get up to get your own breakfast. You get bussed over to the ballpark.
Correct.
And that's it. So you're in LA. You're over at Dodger Stadium. And that's where you're spending your day until the game's over. Then it's back to the hotel, but everyone travels together, busing back and forth.
Correct.
Okay. So
That's how it goes.
what's happening at the ballpark at that point? You're set up in another stadium. You probably know all the stadiums and everything that you can, what they have to offer you. I mean, obviously your facilities at home are going to be nicer for the home team than the away team.
Usually, yes.
Because you don't want to give them the full advantage if they're coming into your ballpark. What is it? What's the day look like? I mean, is it strategy? Is it what's happening behind the scenes?
Basically, when we roll into town, now we'll like when we get off the plane here in Philly, there's trucks waiting there. There's one that comes to the hotel with all the luggage, and the other truck will go to the stadium and unload. And then the clubhouse staff there unloads all our gear, wheels our trunks into the training room. Now, some training rooms are better than others. Now, there's newer stadiums, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you saw Wrigley, you'd be like, can you work in this small training room, you're tight. Boston's the same way. The older ballparks they're smaller. They're not, you have not everything like you would at home, obviously, but the ballparks are getting better. Plus, players in the collective bargaining agreement, they're saying like things need to change. We need to have these things because you've got to have these for us to be able to do our job. So yes, that has changed over the years from when I started, where you walk in going, wow, we got to work with this. And then you bring all your gear in. We travel with 5 trunks. You open them up, you take things out, and you try to make it look like you're back in your own training room again. Yeah. Everything that we usually have at home, we'll travel with. So we have all these trunks that are designed the way we want them. We have them, we pull them up, you open them up. All our over-the-counter meds are here. We have this, and we have we carry IV equipment. We have sutures in case anything goes wrong. Their doctors over there will come over and take care of us, and vice versa when players come to us. So there's always doctors on hand for us, an orthopedic and an internist. So when we get there, we set up, make sure we're ready to go. We'll grab a bite to eat ourselves. So we're prepared before that first bus arrives. Then when players come, they'll grab lunch, and that's when they start cycling in. Then we have the schedule for pitcher stretch, hitter stretch. Then we have meetings. We have a hitters meeting, pitchers meeting, how they're going to approach every day, how they're going to approach the hitters every day. Then there's a team stretch, BP. They'll come in, they'll have more food, they'll get another snack before the game. Then we start prepping for them, because on the road, it's a little quicker, because you're hitting after the home team for BP. Then we get the guys ready, game time. And then as guys come out of the game, like relievers will come out, we'll work with them. We'll do a maintenance program, shoulder program, and a little treatment. And then when the game ends, then we take care of guys. Any maintenance programs that we do, we'll take care of them. Guys will contrast cold tub. They'll eat again. There's food after the games. Yeah. They'll shower, jump on the bus, come back to the hotel, and then it's wind down time. And that's where some of the guys I talk to are up till 3:00 in the morning. That's where we have, conflicts and things where guys are up till 3, but then they don't wake up till noon. So that's how this cycle is. It's kind of crazy because we're shift workers, right? We're really shift workers.
Yeah, but you're there before.
Body has to adjust.
Yeah, you're there before and after. Like you're the, if they're there for 8 hours, you're there for 12, because you got to be there before them. You got to be there after them. Pack everything up and move on.
We had 2 rain delays last night too. We had one where
great. So then it gets
we had a 35-minute delay in the start, and then it rained in the 7th inning. And that was actually, we thought they projected was like, this is going to take an hour and a half to come through. The winds changed, and 25 minutes later, we're back on. We finished the game. But I didn't get back to the hotel. I think it was 12:20, 12:25.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, and then, okay, I put Netflix on and I'm back into watching Stranger Things again. I watch the series, then I go to bed. And then I'm up in the morning here, and I met a friend for a cup of coffee, a buddy of mine, and then I knew I had you guys. So that's what I've done so far.
Wow.
So let's throw some stadiums under the bus here. What are the stadiums you look forward to? Like, okay, great, we're traveling to this stadium. They got a pretty good staff. It's well appointed. And what are the ones you're like, damn it. Okay. You're just sort of, I know you mentioned the Boston ones because they're just older. Is it usually older, or is it?
Which one's stadium?
Well, let's start with the good
imagine
stuff
you've been in
first.
all of them because you've been on both. So, you've been on both leagues, right? You've been on both sides. So
I've been to all 30. Well, the new one I haven't been to is Texas, because now they put a dome in, but their old one, old Arlington Stadium had a large training room. You can just remember things were just a little older. So now this new one, which next year, everybody's going to play everybody next year. And if you guys had seen that, we're going to play everyone's going to play each other, whether you go to their stadium or they come to us. So we'll play all the American League teams, and they'll play all the National League teams. So it'll be interesting next year. But I say, like, Boston's just old, and I love going to Boston. Fenway and Wrigley are really great ballparks to go to. Atmosphere is incredible. They just need to blow up that training room and more room. You walk in, it's like 2 tables, the 2 cold, the tanks, the silver tanks are in there. Our lockers are in there. The ice machine's in there. And then you turn on, you're banging into someone. It's like,
that's funny.
Yeah.
So it's like,
kind of expect Charlie Sheen to be there with his,
it's like now serving number 128.
Exactly.
It's like nuts.
Yeah.
But then when you go to like the new, the Atlanta Braves, beautiful. The weight room is right next to the training room. It's space. They have, when you walk in, there's your training room. We have our office in the back, closed in. The wet room, which is the tanks, closed in. And then they have a doctor's office, which is attached to that too. We use the massage therapist in there. But if we need a player evaluated, it's private. They go over there. So that's really accommodating. So you look at those ballparks. I always love going to like San Diego, San Francisco, where I started. LA, they redid theirs underneath. So that training room and everything is nice. So there's some good and bad. Like the White Sox needs to do some changes too. So every one of them have some good things, but bad things. But the older ones always seem to like, you need to upgrade. So I think in time that they're being pressured, ownership being pressured to spend money to do that. And it's always about the money.
Yeah.
So,
because you want to take care of your investment from an owner standpoint. Why?
The tickets aren't going to sell.
As the science has proven itself that now you can, you need to take care of the players and do a little bit more than they start to spend a little bit more in capital.
Yeah, but like the travel team's training room versus a new, a new beer garden that's going to make, you can charge $3 more per beer.
Are they still turning the hot water off in some stadiums for the visiting teams?
No, that's just us in spring training in June.
Oh, that's just
120 degrees or it's 48 degrees. So it's like you got to decide. We don't know which day it's going to be. When you're like,
you just got to be prepared for. Prepared for it all. Wow.
Hey Ben, just on like you said, you started at sort of the early leagues and you're in the majors, which is kind of cool. There's been an assumption that being in the majors and working with those guys is pretty awesome. Is there, if you had an ideal sort of like, would it be pretty cool to be able to get a younger kid to be able to mold them a little bit more and get them on training, or do you like the idea of dealing with sort of the wily veteran that's acting as a kind of the player coach? What's your ideal of sort of when you like to start getting a hold of these guys and influencing?
I really, really like the veterans because I think that, again, they bring more to the table. But I think the education part, I've always felt the younger ones were where you really can make the biggest influence, because the older ones have already been through the trenches and they really just need you to help them get back to stay out there, so to speak. And they do have a great understanding of their bodies and what they need. The younger kids don't, because they're they're wide-eyed. They're looking at like,
Mhm.
I'm here. How do I stay here? It's harder to stay here, than
Yeah.
it is to get there.
Yeah.
So I love to influence.
Well, and they're invincible,
early on.
right? You're 23,
Right.
you
And
can break
we're dealing
an
with
ankle and
23.
2 weeks later you're done, right?
We had a kid just have his 26th birthday yesterday,
Yeah.
and that 26, and
Yeah.
we have a kid that's 20. We have 23s, 24s, up to 30. I think 35 is our oldest player. So yeah, I think influencing those younger kids early on, because if you can get them to buy into what you're actually giving them, that's when you can win them over. Again, I've always felt you just got to be direct, honest, and just provide them with everything that you can. And if you can't give them the answers, just tell them that you'll get them the answers, and don't try to blow smoke up their ass, because eventually they'll figure it out. But you're not there to do that. You're really there to just give them the best service you can, so to speak. And I like that idea of being able to educate, because at the same time I can learn, because I'm going to learn about them, and I'm going to learn about what they had in the past wrong with them, or what they felt worked, or they feel they need more help with. And that's where we can both learn together. So I'm with you. The younger kids are the type that you can influence and help with the education process.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, for football coaches, like there's some football coaches that love doing it at the high school level because that's kind of fun. You get to put the foundation in. Some coaches love college because it's transactional and you can watch a kid go to that. And some people just love doing the pros for obvious reasons. Is there different stadiums and different organizations and clubhouses are going to have different rules, different sort of methodologies. When people get transferred in, right, you get a player from Boston or a player from LA. How much relearning or how much change is there a wide variety between clubhouses, or is it pretty much you don't need to worry about it, or do you have to kind of say, hey, that's not how we do it here? We do it a little different. Is that an issue or not?
I think when you look at that twofold, I'll look at it from like when a player comes in from another organization, it's like this common theme. It's like your clubhouse is the player's clubhouse. They police that, right? So that's that's kind of innate. They've learned that, and then they'll keep their mouths shut and watch and see, and they might know a player or two, and then they'll start asking questions. Who can I go to? Who can I this? And it's just like anything. You're going to kind of see who you can
feel the room out. Yeah.
Feel the room out. Know your audience. But when they come to us, it's basically what worked for you over in LA. What did they do with you over there that worked? It was like, okay, good. We're doing those same things. Yes, we do BFR over here. Yes, we Graston, we cup, we dry needle. We do those things. Yeah.
Graston is the worst thing on the planet. It should be outlawed. So
it can be painful, right?
A little bit.
Can be.
So, can be. Let's just say it can be. You're so nice. This may introduce some slight discomfort. You're the devil.
I never feel it.
Oh my God.
I have a problem with it. I love inflicting pain. That's the best part of our job. We just get to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And get paid to do it, by the way.
And get paid. Yeah. That's
great.
The best part, right?
Yeah. And I think what we do is that we get the chance to learn, because it's a small group. There's 30 heads and 30 assistants, and then it trickles into the other people. So it's a small group. We know a lot of these individuals. We know, because when we have our meetings in the off season, there's an education part of that. And that's what we're learning, what people have worked. What are you guys doing for hamstrings? What are you doing for groins? What's the new techniques? Then the doctors are telling us about the new docking techniques and new procedures they're doing for Tommy John. So it's science, right? So we want to find out what's worked best for them and how can we add to it.
So are there other teams that are looking at your sleep ones going, gosh, we got to do that? Or is that something you learned from another club?
I found out about that. Can I really talk quickly about that? We were in Colorado.
Absolutely.
We were in Colorado. I was in San Francisco, and my job was, there's 3 of us at that time and working and the head. And I was on the bench the start of the game because we had to prep the guys, get them ready for the game, start them out on the field, warm them up. Then I'd go to the bench because I was doing both jobs. I was an athletic trainer, strength coach. So I'd be on the bench, and then at the top of the 5th, I'd go back up to the training room and then start preparing for after the game and when players came out. So it was the 7th inning stretch, and they put something up on in between the inning, and they were talking about how MLB was doing a study on sleep. And it was a 7-year study, or 10-year study, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And we never heard about it. And I was just like, how the hell can you hold that back from us? And you did a study on it. And then it said, okay, this is what it showed when you were traveling east to west, and this, and players that were evening this and morning this kind of place. I'm like, dudes, when are you going to share this?
Yeah.
So I emailed a buddy of mine that worked at MLB office, and I said, who'd you do this with? Who was this person? He connected me with Chris Winters. I actually wrote him an email the next day. He got back right in touch with me. We built this friendship from like 2008, 2009. I got him to speak in Las Vegas at the meetings in 2009 about sleep. And no one was really understanding this or understanding it and seeing what it was like. And then from there, I jumped on with him, and we started to look into doing a couple projects together. And we did some research together. And it's still not at the head of the table, to be honest with you, because with sleep, you guys, you know this, there's
it's huge.
The mental health of it too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
All of this, it affects you. It really does. And it's starting to come more to the forefront now, but baseball hasn't gravitated to a lot. There are teams that do have sleep rooms. Colorado put a nice one in. We have one. San Francisco has one. Other teams are doing it, but you don't hear a lot of talk about it because it's part of just like, okay, here's a cold tub. Here's the cryo chamber. So you know what I mean? But the more we talk about it, the more we keep doing it. It's right now, I can't worry about what 29 other teams do, but we're going to push it on our players to help them.
I just wasn't sure too, if you looked at other, like, God, look at these guys got, it's like, you get that
always,
too.
Yeah. I mean, we
like,
look at that. It's like,
do you have equipment envy?
Well, you do.
Those bastards, look what they got.
Where'd they get the money for that?
It's like, well, they can because they're this huge market team. We got to try to. I'll take 3 recliners over 3 beds. Like Pittsburgh bought in. I mean, we had 3 recliners. We had 2 beds. We had 2 isopods. Those were great. The float tanks. We had 2 float tanks too.
Dang.
It was awesome.
In Pittsburgh? That was in Pittsburgh?
That was in Pittsburgh.
Because that's a small market.
Why are they still pissed? Why is everybody so angry in Pittsburgh? I don't understand.
Hey,
it gets sleep, and they're still angry.
I closed the book. Next chapter. Here we are. No,
I think
I consider myself the Crash of baseball. I'm you remember from Bull Durham? I'm Crash. I'm at that tail end. I'm here to help.
I'm here to help. Yeah.
I'm here to fill in right now and just do the best I can with everybody.
Yeah. I think the NBA's even started to incorporate, the sleep, what they were putting in the planes. They were putting in systems for the guys, pods, so the guys to sleep in.
Well, their travel's different too, because remember they go in. They're there for a night most of the time, and then they pack up and they leave. Hockey's the same way. Football, you go in on a Friday, you're out of there on a Sunday. Some fly in on Saturday and leave after the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Us, we unpack. Been in this room. I'll be in Philly for 4 days, and then then go back and unpack and do it.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You think, like being in for a few days because you can settle in, or is it you'd rather be in and out?
No, you know what? I think being in one place like this allows you to adjust. Now, when you talk to the NHL and the NBA guys, they're envious of us because they've got to pack.
Yeah, you got constant packing. You're living out of it.
Schedule, except that it's 162 games, but they like the idea of it being in a city for 3 to 4 days.
Yeah,
and it does make sense because you get acclimated. You can get into a regimen, right? So to speak. Yeah. It's more of a routine.
Yeah.
The other routine is it's abrupt, it's quick.
Yeah.
And that's where
if you had to, so you're in MLB now, if you had to pick another sort of sport where you're like, okay, I think I want to try that, what would be the sport that you would want to kind of transition to if you could?
I've always said this. I think it would be the NFL. For some reason, the NFL. Football intrigues me. I think it's just the nature of the beast, maybe the game. They're like these, football. It's just this. Yeah,
it's a violent sport. Yeah,
right? Yeah, and I love it. I think I love it, and then I think I love the build up to Sunday. Because when I did college, I did men's basketball and I did football, and I used to love game days because remember it's just build up.
The build up. Yeah, absolutely.
You get in there, then they go to their meetings and it's taping, and then you run out and then you get this game, and then you take care of it. I loved it. I think that's what was really most exciting.
Can somebody in your profession move like that to another, or is it so specialized at this point it would be really hard to do?
I think where I am in my career, I think at this point in time in my aging career, I think it would be more difficult because I think if people younger could do that, because I've had friends jump from, I'll give an example. My friend was in the NFL when I met him and when I was in San Francisco. He was with the Niners, and we've stayed friends now. He went from the NFL to the NBA. And then again, when management comes in, it changes. He was in the NBA with the Bulls for, I think, 8 to 9 years, and then went to Major League Soccer. And now he's at his career. Now he's with Northwestern doing men's basketball. So it can happen. It can happen.
Yeah.
So I've only been in baseball. So
we never really talked about, I mean, there's some obvious things on injuries, but what are some obvious and non-obvious injuries that most people understand? Like,
get hit by pitch.
You get hit by, well, no, I mean, like, a Tommy John issue or other issues. I mean, how much is concussions? Is that a bigger deal or not a big deal? What's most of the time that you're seeing? Is it knees? Is it ankles? Is it shoulders? What do you generally see that's most prevalent?
Obviously, majority in baseball is elbows and shoulders.
Yeah.
Concussions will happen, obviously, because we had one already this year, line drive off our pitcher's head in Cincinnati. That will happen. Catchers are the ones mostly because of the foul tips, right? And it's repetitive. It's repetitive. And really those things are cumulative, and they can also be so small. And then some can be very traumatic at one time. And then some can build up to where, like Mike Matheny's career ended when Mike was with us in San Francisco. They were cumulative. And then I remember this happening. We were playing Miami at the old stadium. He was catching and Matt Morris was pitching. And all of a sudden it was one foul tip. And then it happened. And his career ended that day. And Mike never came back. And Mike ended up, being a manager now, managed the Cardinals, and now he's with Kansas City. But that happens. You'll see concussions more in football, right?
Yeah.
But mostly elbows and elbows and shoulders. Obviously, you're going to get the finger things, but those are the major ones. And you get soft tissues. Now, the biggest ones in baseball are hamstrings. And
that makes sense,
happens, right?
Yeah. You're standing idle, all of a sudden you're sprinting, and then sitting idle and you're sprinting.
Yeah. And then you can have obscure ones here and there. You can have things that that come up, stress fractures of a rib or a scapula, things like that. It's just because it's a repetitive thing that, then those are the things that we've got to, deal with it a little differently than just, okay, it's a grade 2 strain of a hamstring. We know how we're going to handle this. And some people will come back quicker than others. Like you guys dealt with this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I know, in football, 15 years ago, you get an ACL, you're done. Right.
Right.
And then you see Alex, and then Alex Smith is, half of his leg is gone and he's back to playing football, which is insane.
Amazing, right?
It seems like the development on muscle, I mean, these guys are getting bigger, right? Players, I mean, obviously you had that terrible, roid kind of thing that went on, but
they're naturally getting bigger. It seems like
plays are naturally getting bigger, which means the weakness becomes the joints, right? And that's where the weak spot is. Are you seeing that happen? I mean, and I'm surprised when I see, I don't hang out with baseball a whole lot, but when we see pro baseball players, they're big guys. I mean, these are not, they're big.
They're big.
I mean, are you seeing, more stress on joints because of that sort of development over time, or is it just sort of equal, or do you see that?
I think, in my opinion, what I'm seeing, even with this year, this is a repetitive sport, right? It's repetitive. How many swings? They take numerous swings in a day. That's what's one thing is like we would like to control more of. We've had 5 back injuries this year. And I don't know if I've ever had 5 back injuries in a season, but to have one in one, like this season, we've had 5 in a short period of time. I don't know if I had, like I said, 5 in one season is so much. I think we've had maybe 2 in a year that I can remember. So Why is that? And then we look at, and when you finally look at where it was and the low back area, the repetitive torque, the movements, and then these were cumulative. And then did it start somewhere in the chain from the feet up? Did it start with hamstrings, obliques? And then remember that's going to affect the chain, right? And where's from obliques to hamstrings, you have the low back. And then where does that go? And then does that also work on the biomechanical side of things? And then does it decrease how they can get their range of motion and how they can keep that range of motion of low back? And then that will build up, because there's a great amount of force and torque being applied to a swing. Yeah. And they're very strong individuals, and everybody wants to hit the long ball, and they are strong individuals. We're lifting heavy. We're in the off season. Yeah. They are lifting heavy, and then we're lifting during the season to maintain. So there is a breakdown in there. And I think that's where the elbows, everyone wants to throw harder. And then what's going to go? The ligament's going to go, because that's going to take only so much force and what's applied to that band, and it breaks down. And we lost a kid on one pitch this year in Pittsburgh, felt a pop. Okay, you're done.
That's the end of that. Yeah.
Had surgery yesterday in LA. So 14 months, we'll see you. We'll see you again in 14 months. It sucks to say that, but that's what happens.
How much influence do you have on the coaches then? Like when you see like a back like that and you're like, okay, this is getting kind of unusual. Can you go to the coaching staff and say, look, these guys need to do X, or they need to be doing Y? How much can you say? And then
how much influence do you have?
I can see by your expression that it's there. You have some influence, but you would like a lot more. I mean, I think is that a tension kind of spot, you think?
Right. Wouldn't you like to just say, listen, don't play him today. I'm telling you, I got a bad feeling. But it's like, what you try to do is like, again, information, right? You're providing information to them. Here it is. Here's the workload. This is, and we keep track of this. StatsCast keeps, we know how much they're traveling and how fast they're traveling. And then we see the accumulative from 1 day, 7 days, 14 days to 1 month. And then some of these guys are traveling a mile in a game, and at different rates. And then we can provide that. So say, listen, all right, you've got him working 10 days in a row. We know he's hitting the ball, but listen, if you give him a blow today, it's Sunday, it's a day game. We have an off day tomorrow. You give him 2 days off. Tuesday he comes back, he'll feel a little better. You give him a little mental break. So that's the information you can provide and kind of sell it on them. Now, injury-wise, they all know when we sign this guy, we do the medical review, right? We look at this. We provide it to the front office. Here's the risk reward. You can take this on. You know what's in front of you. It's up to them. We provide the information. This is what we have. This is what the person's had. We look at everything, because we're allowed, once you have access to the medical records for a short period of time. Once we know that we're looking at a trade or free agency or something like that, we have to review that, because then we do our due diligence and have our doctors look at them. We'll get our MRIs. We'll look at it and say, listen, we're going to be dealing with this. Are you willing to take on this risk? And then if so, then you can negotiate whatever from there. But providing them the information, educating them the best way we can to make the best decision, right? It's up to them. Ultimately, it's up to them. I'm like, when we were dealing with the sleep thing, to give you an example, hey, we were trying to tell these guys, there's morningness and eveningness type of players, right? The larks and the night owls. We'll see who performs best. And that's why when we did that research on them, we were showing, and the numbers showed the eveningness guys, they're not good at day games. The morning people are good at day games. But am I going to walk in and say, I wouldn't play this guy because he's better at, he's better at morning games. You can't do that. You can't. But
there's
it's education.
Yeah, I think it's especially at the pro level, there's this tension, right? You got the coach that needs to figure out what he needs to do to get his team to win. His contract's on the line for that. You've got a player who has performance stats that they need to hit, probably to hit their bonus numbers, right? So because their contract's like backloaded, right? And then you're sitting there going, I have to worry about the long-term health of these people. And it seems like, I mean, you've got a balance between sort of looking at the player going, I know you want to get out there, looking at the coach going, I know it would be great to be able to get him because we need to get the games up, but I need to make sure he can be there on Wednesday and not just here on the Monday game. Is that kind of a fair assessment on kind of how you balance that?
You're right. And you're right. And then that's the big thing is like, how do we get everyone to understand and then get the player to buy into say, listen, and they want, if they're playing well, they don't want it. They're like, they want to keep that. Everything's like superstitious. This is what I'm doing. I'm playing well. I don't want to stop. But, everybody does need a blow. Play 162 games. I don't know when the last person that did that. I'd have to go back and look. Cal Ripken, look what he did. And then you think of that. It's like, my God.
Yeah, but that's the outlier, right? That's the outlier.
Yeah. That's not going to happen again. Unless they bring steroids and amphetamines back to the game. It's probably not going to happen. So it's you got it. I think guys, once you talk to guys, this is what I think. I mean, when you talk to guys and say, listen, you know what, maybe you could use a blow, just give your body a break and sell them on that. And then they'll buy in. I think they know it. Most know it. The younger kids that are up here right now that just came up from AAA, they're running them out there. They're running them out there. And they're going to run them out there. And then, when the off day comes, that's your break. But the older guys, then you start looking at guys, okay, these are the guys that we got to, hey, how much can we push the Ferrari before something happens? And that's when you pull back. And then guys will buy into that. They do, because they know when they need a blow too. And then, believe it or not, sometimes they'll look at like, oof, I don't know if I want to face Scherzer today.
It's going to ruin my stats.
I'm not throwing anybody under the table. I'm not throwing anybody in the bus. I mean, guys are. It's funny because I laugh at it too. It's like, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to face.
Oh heck yeah.
That's funny.
Sure.
So, what percentage? We talked to a sports psychologist on our last podcast, and it was fascinating to talk about sort of the mental aspect of the game. What percentage of your work you think is physical? Obviously you're physically touching people and you're getting them ready. What percentage do you also think is mental, where you like you said, you're talking to certain players? They may, we talked about the yips, right? Like some players are just getting into a can't seem to get out of this sort of, hitting slump or whatever. How much do you think is kind of mental that you're aware of, or that you have to do? I mean, what responsibility do you feel like you have on that mental aspect?
That's a great question, because everybody, all the teams mostly now have mental conditioning coaches or mental really? Skills. Ours is with us traveling on this road trip too.
Interesting.
Now, you can't push it on them, right? It's like to get you to open up about something, it's not easy. Yeah. And guys are a little bit more closed, but I mean, I think we all need to do that. Now, at this level, we know when people aren't doing well. It shows, right? Now, how to get to them, I think it's just that relationship building thing. Now, what am I qualified to do? I have to stay within my lane, so to speak.
Sure, of course.
But there's nothing wrong with just being human and just asking, how you doing? And you need to check in. We call it, check in. I mean, and it could be any way when you know your audience and your players. Some might be the humor part, there might be the sarcasm part, or it just might be like, hey, where'd you go to breakfast? Like when you go to those new places, and then you start those conversations, and then you see where they're going. And then if we really think now, people are dealing with so many different things, right? Yeah. Families, new baby coming to maybe all these different stressors. And then you got to find those things. And then if we can help, then we can maybe gravitate them towards the mental coach. And if it's even deeper, that's their job to take them to another side. But that all depends, right? So you got to do the best you can to understand your own players, know your players, that we've always said.
Yeah, it seems to me like, for example, when you've got somebody, they're kind of at a place where, it's a quiet environment that you're talking to. They tend to probably open up to you a little bit more. I'm assuming they have some confidentiality with you. And then, of course, like you said, you have a responsibility. However, if you see a player getting depressed or whatever, that you talk to their mental coach and say, look, I think this person needs it. But to your point, they're going to open up a little bit more. And then for you, it's like you said, it could either just be, hey, you just listen, or, you may bust their balls a little bit just to kind of, because that's what they do. And the famous one is like when Tom and I were swimming, he's my swim coach. and I'm in the water and I'm just struggling. Right. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, look, dude, you're a fucking Iron Man. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I am. And then I just needed that. It wasn't, I didn't need to know about my stroke count, or I didn't need to know like, hey, you probably need to enter the water this, or remember about this. It was just like, hey, remember who you are. And I'm like, yeah. And so that's, I appreciate Tom for doing that. I'm assuming that's kind of, again, I know you're trying to stay in your lane, but I assume that is sort of part of your, I don't want to say job description, but that's just sort of what needs to happen. Right.
Right. I think you hit it on the head. It's like, we're all human. We have our flaws. They're here for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Or all three of us would be playing this game if it was that easy. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever stood in to a 95 mile per hour fastball. It's scary as hell. I mean, because all you hear is whiz, and then it's like, there it is.
Yeah.
And that's my point. Try to hit that, and then try to hit it when it's doing this and this.
Yeah.
So, okay, now you kind of look at that and you go, we're all human. It's trying to help them just understand that it's okay to fail, but then you got to get back on. Like I've had a manager go, wash this off. Wash it off today because tomorrow's a new day, and then we got to face it. So it's just like anything. It's like, how do you get guys to motivate themselves to get back out there and do it again? Like your point too is like, it's hard, because I'd love to do what you guys are doing. And my goal is to do a sprint one day. I'd love to try that. And I'm not a real good swimmer. I've got to get back into trying and doing better at that. So that's my wall that I got to get through. Yeah. And how am I going to get through that? And that's maybe where you guys can help me. But for them, it's to understand it's a difficult task, and how can we help them get through this every day and the beatings that they take. You go over 8, it's not easy to swallow. Yeah. So man, it's just it's something that we're there to help them and just to be a shoulder to lean on, or just listen, because that's part of our job. We wear many hats, in this profession, and we're not the fixer, but we are there to help you. Yeah, we can fix some things, but we're there to really help you and be a mom, a dad, just an ear. And that's what we're there for. That's how I've learned over the years, is like, just be an extension to the other help that we can get you if you need it. And that's how I look at this. And you want to help, but you also got to know when to just sit back, right? And do what we're doing. Yeah. Listen.
Yeah. It's a weird sport, right? Because if you think about it, you're successful less than 50% of the time, and you're highly successful, right? The more times you're going to strike out than you are going to hit a ball. I mean, it's unfathomable that the amount of mental, like you said, you can go 0 for 8 and you're still doing well, at least, overall, right? It's just the most insane kind of thing. It's like, imagine going out to a sport where you're going to fail more times than you're going to succeed. Cool.
And you keep going, and you keep going back.
That's a difficult model.
And you keep going back for more.
Yeah.
No. And that's what I look at it too. It's like, it's amazing that they love this game, right? They're here because they love the game. They love playing the game. It's a great game, and it's hard as hell. And it's like, the real good ones understand that, they're going to fail, but they're going to come back out and try to beat your ass the next time. And the good ones, look at Albert Pujols, look at Bonds. Bonds knew he was going to beat you. No, you can say what you want, and we understand that there's a shadow there, but that guy could hit, and he was not afraid of anyone. And if you ever watch any of his videos and just watch his approach, it's like he's looking at you like, I'm going to kick your ass. No matter what.
My one story about Bonds is, we went to a game. I used to live in Sacramento, so we went to a San Francisco game.
Cool.
And Bonds, I think, was playing third. And he didn't walk to the base. He strutted. I mean, he owned it. I mean, it was
right.
The cockiest walk I've ever seen ever. And then he just knocks one out of the park. Of course, I think it was tied for 5th at the time. And it was just, he owned it. I mean, it was just an amazing sort of thing to watch.
That's a mental preparation for sure.
It is.
Oh, it's I mean,
you have to have the confidence in yourself to almost to a point of being, over the top cocky, and you see a lot of those guys at the top level of whatever sport that you're like, wow, they're kind of arrogant. It's like, well, you know what? He's standing in against a 94 mile an hour fastball. Kind of have to be, right? You have to feel that you're going to crush it every single time.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
the funniest thing
won't.
I watched, there was a YouTube videos. I don't know if you watch those YouTube videos, but I think it was like a professional pitcher going up against the top 5 high school hitters in the US. And they got him in a batting cage. And, he was slinging 91, 93 mile an hour fastballs. And these are the best high school kids in the nation. And these kids were like, and he's telling them like, look, this is going to be a fastball. Like it's going to be. And so they know it's coming. And I think one of them hit a base hit, and it was like pandemonium, and just the speed, even with good high school players. I mean, just adjusting to that. I guess we asked about the sports psychologist about that as well, about adjusting to speed, right? I think that's something that as you progress into the majors, you have to think that everything just keeps getting faster.
Each step faster and faster.
At what point does it slow down? At what point do you feel like a Bonds or somebody, a professional player, where it kind of slows down? You can kind of anticipate what's going on. That to me is a fascinating kind of thing.
I think it's like you guys, right? It's repetition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a matter of, like I told you, that jump from every level. That's where, like, okay, when you're around these kids, when you come to spring training, okay, you guys were all the best in college and high school. That's then guess what? Then it starts to do this. There's a separation.
Yeah.
Because then you can't compete with these other guys, because there's something different about everyone at that different level, right? It's just like when know when you're, all right, I'm outmanned. And there's a point in time where, like, do you keep going for it? Then those guys in the minor leagues know when they get pushed out. When you're done.
Yeah.
And then the ones that can keep going up that level, then from AAA to here. Now, we have a young man that just came up. He went to Vanderbilt, Blade, and I'm watching him right now, and it's impressive to see that he was in AAA. He came here. His adjustment to me has been easier, so to speak, because when I watch his approach, he is like, to me, it's like he's already been here. I'm looking at it going, like, you've been here. It's like you've stepped into this, whether your mindfulness to it or your mindset is like, but your approach is like an aggressive approach. Like, he's got his first hit, got his first home run already. It's
awesome.
Out of the way. It's out of the way.
It's out of the way.
That pressure's off, right?
Played 10 games, and it's done. So now I'm watching him, and then I watch him defensively, and I'm like, this kid could stay here. That's the difference. That's what I look at it and I go, what makes him different? And what makes that different from everyone else? And it's like, where did they learn this? Where did you obtain to do this? Again, the mind. I'm sure the sports psychologist must have told you things about the mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the kid's coming from Vandy too, right? And that's a powerhouse program. I'm assuming, like, you look at the Alabama football team, and I know everybody in the SEC hates it when I bring up Alabama because we're in Tennessee. So I get it. I keep doing it. But what's impressive is towards the end of the season, you're not watching 8 or 10, people in positions that are college. They're NFL players at this point, right? Like, the whole O-line's going to the NFL. So I think, like you said, on the preparedness, they're already at the NFL level. Now it's just a matter of, everything gets a little faster. To your point, they're lining up against an outside linebacker that's 33. It's done this a lot and will probably knock on your ass at least a dozen times during that game before you figure it out. But that program is already developing. Georgia's the same way. You're seeing these programs that are Vandy for baseball. I mean, they're college World Series baseball teams. That kid is prepared when he comes in, I'm assuming, right?
Right. I think you look at, while you were thinking this, I was also thinking, where are kids coming from? How are they being trained? How are they now? Here's a thing to look at. Like, we talk about this, Dominican kids, right? They're not coming from much. Most of them are not coming from much.
It's a good point.
So now, when their development, how many of them have access to a gym now? And then think about this. Now, these kids, the way off the island is to throw 100 miles an hour or be able to hit and field. So a lot of those kids, and that's why there's academies down in the Dominican. For every team has an academy, because they want to develop those kids. And now we realized over the years that we can train them. So when they come from the Dominican League to here, they're already going to be able to understand what it is to lift, to train properly, to eat properly. Before it wasn't. And I still think there's a lag because
Mhm.
how they develop and how they learn the game, that's key at this level. Because think about it, guys. You probably have to understand you're running, you're biking, you're swimming. You have to understand that your technique is important because it can take off seconds, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So this, for them to understand the game, to understand like, okay, when stealing, halfways, reading a fly ball, all those things that maybe they're not developing quickly enough or understanding. I'm not saying that they're slower than, people, everyone's different. So I'm just wondering, in the Dominican and in these academies, we've got to develop them more. We got to teach them more. We got to gravitate to doing that more. And I know we are, but I think there's still room for that to grow. So that's part of my point here is like developing these kids. It's sometimes it takes longer, right?
Yeah.
And maybe here in the States, I don't know. I'm not saying we have all the answers here, but in the States, but maybe there's.
But you've got a great point. I mean, Dominicans producing, in conditions that are less than ideal, are producing some of the best players in the world. Yeah. So the question is, do you want somebody hungry or do you want somebody talented? Right? It's interesting.
You guys tell me. Sometimes hunger, desire can
trump
take
talent.
You a long way.
Exactly.
Take you a long way.
When you're looking at longevity, versus short, like you can have a little bit for short term, but the longevity has to be that hunger, has to be that desire to keep pursuing, to keep learning, to keep pushing more and more and more. So, but
there's also, I think there's a very real aspect of, when we talk to folks, there's a difference between I'm playing baseball, my parents, I can get a CPA job or I can get a job at my dad's law firm versus my family, my family's family, my extended family is relying on me to hit a ball really well. Yeah. That will give you a level of hunger of I need to get out of this because it's not just me, but it's my extended me that needs to get out of this, which is a lot different than, well, if I fail, I still have my, I can still get a job at my dad's law firm. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I think being content, guys, I think you understand this as well as I do. Being content is not something I think we all want. Some people are. I mean, at this level, that's the thing, guaranteed money. And I'm not going to bash an industry that's helped me, but there's flaws in every industry and everything. Mm-hmm. I think when you look at it, it's like guaranteed money can take things away sometimes, but I'm not saying all players are like that. Sometimes it can just shadow it enough sometimes that, and then those that want to get those big contracts, it takes time to get there. And that's why I say you've got to really prove yourself to get to that point.
Yeah. You've seen it through its personalities. You've seen it in every single sport and even in entertainment, with bands that signed a big contract that all of a sudden, the desire to put out the music is not there anymore. Or they're not as angry as they were, making the music that made them popular. And all of a sudden they become a little soft. And now it's like, wow, it's not really what it was. And you get all of that. I've always said that the best triathletes are people have a mindset of operations, right? If you're an operations person, you will love the sport of triathlon because you have to efficiently get from one sport to the next. And most people that I know in operations love to do that. They're like, oh, it's fantastic. I did my first triathlon and then I figured out, okay, here's what I need to tweak to be more efficient to transition to the bike from the swim and then from here to the run. Yeah. And they start putting the pieces together and it's all about efficiencies. Like, I'm not going to powerhouse this thing. I'm going to, be as mechanically efficient and fueling efficiently to get through the whole race. And then I can push a little further and the distances can be a little bit harder and I can kind of go through all of this thing. You have to have that mindset. I don't know the mindset for baseball. You have to, it's probably similar to that in certain aspects, but there has to be a different, statistical approach or something on it where you have to be able to pick apart each pitch. You have to be able to take the whole game out of it at a moment and know that this pitch in this situation is almost like chess. All right. It's a chess match. Like, guys on what bases at what point, this hitter does what type of thing. They always tend to hit this way on this type of pitch. So then you're going to throw around that, but then you have to stage the guys to shift over at certain points. It's a strategy type of game. So guys with a personality that, loves strategy will probably be a better baseball player maybe than they are a triathlete. at least in the long term. I don't know. I love watching the personalities that sit behind it. So they still consider our sport punishment for your sport. So
There you go.
I make you run.
Yeah.
What, you missed? Oh, go run a lap.
But it's funny because they said baseball is a game of adjustments, right?
Yeah.
You have to adjust to everything. You adjust to a fastball, a changeup, a slider, a curveball. And how do you recognize that at 60 feet, 2 inches away, right? How do you recognize that? It's a game of adjustment that gets its repetition. It's like you have to recognize. And it's still amazing to me that here's the other thing too. Hitters can pick up when a pitcher might be tipping. Now, tipping meaning, you know that maybe he's moving his hands differently, or he comes here, brings the glove closer when he's going to throw this pitch or this pitch. And that happened to us. Where were we? We were at home, and one of the teams picked up on one of our pitchers doing it and crushed him for 2 innings. And he was being told this as well. And then he had to make the adjustment, and then it settled down a little bit, but the damage was already done.
Yeah.
But again, it's a game of adjustments, and you make that great point. It's like, how do you make those adjustments? And the good ones find ways, and they reading pictures, watching video, all of those things. It's a systematic approach, like you just said. These guys are creatures of habit. They come here, they eat, they change, they go to the training room, they go to the weight room, they go to the batting cage, they go to their meeting, they go look at film, and then they go to the bat, and then they go hit BP. Then they come in, they grab a snack, they take it, or they shower, take a snack, get in their uniform, prep, warm up again, play the game. It's a regimen. It's a ritual. It's a ritual. It's like this. It's a ritual. So like you guys, their mindset is like, I do this to get ready for this, and then I will be ready to do my job. And it'd be interesting to even get. I'd love to get maybe one of our players to talk to one day, because then you can ask those questions specifically. What it is to get their mindset to where it needs to be to face Matt Scherzer or whoever else, one of the great ones that are out here right now, or any pitcher, because it's a challenge every day. It's truly a challenge. So it's amazing.
And it's baseball's the most interesting because I was telling this about my son who was playing baseball when he was younger. It's the most selfish team sport you can find, right? Because it's a pitcher with a batter, right? You're the only one on first, right? So here you're at a team sport, but the whole stadium is watching one person, pitch against on one person, right? It's an interesting kind of thing, but you have to play as a team. And obviously as a team, it's incredibly important, but it's a one-on-one match. It's like watching one-on-one basketball. Everybody else just kind of goes off. And then if the ball gets off the rim, then you go play. But it's an interesting kind of dynamic that occurs. It's a team sport, but it's the most individualistic team sport you can find. It's cracking me up. I love it. I mean, that's what's fun about it, right?
Yeah. That's true. And it's like that pitcher needs you behind him, right? Because he can't
absolutely right. Absolutely.
Go get it. So that's the thing. You're right. It's like it's one-on-one until the ball's hit. And
exactly.
Then
it's a team sport.
Yeah. And you count on everybody else.
It is crazy. It's amazing to watch that all happen, because then how does everything come to place? The ball being hit, relay, cutoffs, all of it. You watch the baseball.
Yeah, you hit a double play. I mean, when you get a double play and you're just like, that was just beautiful, right? It's a hop off a second, in the air, throw it to first, get the other out. You're just like, I'm watching Little League baseball right now at our shop, and it's just been fun to watch the kids. And the excitement it's incredible. Yeah, and they got some kid with a mullet, I think was like from Northeast. He's got the most glorious mullet I've ever seen in my life. So
it's fun to watch them, because they bring out, it's because we had it on last night in there before the game. I'm watching it, and these kids are they're loving it, right? Yeah. The joy, everything that comes with it. And that's what makes the game fun, because these guys act like kids. They do. Yeah. I mean, it's exciting and it's fun when the good things happen, and when the crap happens, well, we all got to eat it, and you just deal with it, and let's move on to the next one. There'll be another one tomorrow. There's another one the next day. So it's the way the game is. It's grueling, it's taxing, but it has some great rewards to it, and a lot of good things can come from this game. It can. Yeah, it really does. like your sport as well. I mean, yours is grueling as well. It's grueling.
It can be
grueling.
Very grueling.
My God. And that's why.
But it's all good. It's just like it's being active. It's that's the one thing we try to relate to our viewers and listeners is being active, and the active lifestyle is getting out there and doing things. And we consider everyone an athlete. That's what we say. Who's an athlete? Everyone's an athlete. We're at different levels, professional ball player versus me. Yeah. Big gap in that sense. But the idea is that, just to be active, find something that you love doing. And, even if it's a pickup game of baseball with, local friends and something like that, just do something, get out there, keep moving, because that's how we're going to age a little more gracefully, a little more. A little bit. We have to have a little bit of dignity as we age up and move on with this. So that's why we keep doing everything. But Ben, thank you so much for being on. This has been fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Been looking forward to this for a while. So
if we can connect another way, or if you'd like to do something different down the road, shout. I know you got a lot of things you guys want to cover.
No, we definitely want to revisit some of the stuff and get into other things. As well. I mean, there's lots of stuff we didn't talk about, the type of strength and conditioning that needs to happen for baseball. I'd love to get into that a little bit down the line. So I'd love to have you back on at some point. And this is where I get to do my fun taglines for everybody. So thanks for listening, everyone, and watching on our YouTube channel. We really appreciate all the comments and feedback. Give us more. We love the thumbs up. The 5 stars, the ratings are good. It helps the algorithms. It gets it out so more people can get our wonderful content and our wonderful guests. So thank you so much, Kenny. Thanks so much, Ben.
Yep.
I really appreciate
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's all good. And we'll catch everybody on the next one.
Take care, guys.
This episode was brought to you by OOFOS Recovery Shoes.
Hey, if you haven't had a chance to experience OOFOS recovery shoes for yourself, you're missing out on how great your feet can actually feel.
Just click on the link in the bio and get your pair of OOFOS today.